Lucidius voltaris, a Songsworth character who I personally wanted more from, but just like characters like Herobrine, was mostly just a cameo character and just someone who just shows up in the background here and there. So, this is Delphius, and today I'm going to be rambling about the lost potential of Lucidius. And so you may say, wait a minute Delphius, did you only make this video? The answer is yes. But I don't like it. And like I said in the hating on video, just watch the first 1 minute of that video and see why I don't like it. Anyways, enough of my rambling there. On with the show. Okay, so starting off with one of the big details that, well, not big details at least, but one of the most details that people would definitely immediately note: Abigail and Lucidius. So let me specify what I mean by this. They could have done a story plot hole where Lucidius, like, okay, just like Sen and Abigail, where they cross paths with each other again and then reunite with each other again. That last part didn't sound right. I'll do the same thing for Lucidius, like halfway into the season, maybe like around season 3 at least. Abigail and Lucidius end up crossing paths again, and like Lucidius decides to let her and her Endonites and maybe the KOA go out. Like, let's say they're like, okay, let's say there's a situation where the Knights of Ardonia and the Endonites are pinned down in a certain location. Lucidius have the decision to decide their fate in the scenario, and he decides, since Abigail spared him, it would only be right if he also spared her and her group. Or maybe like a storyline where Abigail is like temporarily captured by the voltaris somehow. I don't know how, but somehow, let's say Ingress has popped up and then knock her in the head. Yeah, let's just say that. And now her and maybe like a few of her Endonites and a few of the KOA members are now in prison up in Hellstone. Well, let's say this scenario where Lucidius finds them, finds out about this, realize that the Ender Queen is, well, Abigail, and like they have like a conversation, and like I have a full-blown conversation about what happened back in season 1, how he spared her. It will be both funny to see the reactions of the other people there, especially members of the KOA like Hubris and Rhea and Sen, who would hear that Abigail really did spare a voltaris, or have it where something after like a long talk, Lucidius either decides to just let them go, like help sneak out Abigail and maybe her team if he wanted to, like out of Hellstone to escape as like repayment. Or what happened, or let's say what have like this something like, okay, what have the event from season 1 affect Abigail a bit, just a bit. Like, what I mean by this is like a scenario where she's talking to the like Hubris, Rhea, or Val, or Gallius about stuff, and then eventually the topic of like the voltaris being brought up, and like let's say like Hubris, since I'm pretty sure Hubris will be the main one saying this, calling them like bad, horrible people, demons even, and Abigail's just sitting there, not sitting there, or standing there in this scenario, and maybe let's say just like reject this idea of the voltaris being pure evil, and then somehow like in the whole argument have like a mini argument where she would just reveal that she spared the voltaris once, and maybe like some random voltaris. She doesn't say the name of him because, well, she doesn't know Lucidius' name, and they all are like shocked or something like that. I don't have many ideas for like this one, like that's it, like, but okay. But hey, like something like that. Like what happened? Let's have an event from Lucidius from season 1 to affect Abigail a little bit. But back to Lucidius. What happened if, let's say, this scenario where, what happened if, let's say, Lucidius have like a change of heart, like he found out what Tigrin did, and Lucidius is not up for that. And let's say he considers swapping sides and joining the KOA and Knights of Ardonia. Or let's say he specifically joins the Knights of Ardonia, it's the KOA, Ender Knights. Yes, I now realize I was saying Knights of Ardonia instead of Ender Knights. And he decides to specifically join the Ender Knights as the Ender Knights are being led by Abigail. Let's say he finds out this is Abigail and decides that, hey, Abigail spared my life, And if they were truly evil, why would they spare me and let me go? And my side is committing some atrocities. Let's say Lucidius is a follower of Tigran, but then saw some of the atrocities Tigran is actually committing. Like, let's have a scene where he either refines his reaction to what he did to the 4 villages, or like, let's have a scene where we get his reaction, or at least a brief reaction to to what Tigran did to the 4 villages. And like, or let's have an extra scene for Tigran where we just get to see more of Tigran's cruelty to people and how Tigran is not willing to spare anyone on the enemy team. And Lucidius is watching this, being more and more disturbed by it the more and more the Second Great War goes on, until there's a moment where he decides, you know what, screw this, I'm out, and just peace out of there, either deciding to join up with the Ender Knights, or just straight up just ditching all of the voltaris. Like, he assists the voltaris, but he's not outright on their side anymore. Like, he's not under their control, because now he's just seeing all these atrocities being committed by people like Tigran, and to a certain extent Tigran's, well, followers and extremists. Or maybe we get like a few conversations with like him with people like Elmrak or Delphius, or even like Ingressus, since Lucidius, from what I recall and from what I do remember, didn't really speak to neither Elmrak or Delphius during the show. So like, let's have a little thing where he had like some connections to, like, he talked, like he was a friend of one of them, or he trained them, or at least Delphius at least, or something like that. Or maybe have like a little thing where he got so like fed up with what's happening with the voltaris and decided to like be like a little spy for the KOA, or specifically the Ender Knights, and maybe like try to like secretly form some agreement saying if he helps them, like they would like give a better future for the remaining voltaris who are not fighting in the war or committing these atrocities and stuff like that, which could cause a conflict between the Knights of Ardonia and the Ender Knights, since one side would think, hey, he's lying, and the other side would think, we could trust him, or something like that. Since it could be like, you could like say at this point in the story where Abigail's already working with Volcanus. But then again, that might be too much, especially for Abigail, since she's already dealing with this, probably Denny's death by this time, and then Volcanus fighting off Pyphus. So yeah, that's basically all from me today. In terms of thoughts and feelings, I really do wish for them to do at least a little bit more with Lucidius instead of just him being there, since I saw like me and kind of like a few other people back then really saw a lot of potential with Lucidius and Abigail. Not like a relationship or anything. No, like let's say like they like see each other again, but briefly or something like that. I don't know. So yeah, this is Delphius, and I'm signing out. Story.